Hello everyone, my name is Mrs. Takhtani, otherwise known as Mrs. T, and you are watching the introduction for the World Religions page on the New York State Global Regents Prep website that I have constructed. I first wanted to kind of overview a couple of things about world religions that I think you guys should remember when studying for the New York State Global Regents exam, and then I want to go over some commonly assessed topics, in my opinion, that appear on the exam. So first, there are a lot of different religions that you guys need to remember before taking this exam, and so I have created a mnemonic acronym to help you guys remember. This acronym is sort of different from my other ones, but you can remember the different world religions by remembering before cooking tasty jerky, I cautiously hunted. If you can remember before cooking tasty jerky, I cautiously hunted, you will be able to remember the major religions. Before stands for Buddhism, cooking stands for Christianity, tasty stands for Taoism, jerky stands for Judaism, I stands for Islam, cautiously stands for Confucianism, and hunted stands for Hinduism. So if you can remember, before cooking tasty jerky, I cautiously hunted, you will be able to remember the different world religions. I thought this was especially fitting because it helps you guys remember that these world religions developed very early in the overall history of humanity. So food preservation was just starting to come around when the first major religions were, I guess, getting up and running, although some did develop later than others. But so now I'm going to kind of overview the different religions in the acronym to help you guys sort of remember their central beliefs and their impact on society. Okay, so I first wanted to start by discussing Buddhism. Buddhism developed around 500 BCE and was started by the Buddha, or Siddhartha Gautama. I can't say it very well, I'm sorry. And he outlined what he believed to be, I guess, the cause of suffering and how to cure suffering in life. And he basically outlined these beliefs in what is known as the Four Noble Truths. The fourth noble truth kind of outlines how Buddhists can achieve nirvana through the Eightfold Path. This religion emphasizes charity, enlightenment, and an overall dedication to spirituality. The next religion in our acronym is Christianity. Christianity developed in the Middle East during the time of Jesus Christ, what we would, I guess, term 0 CE, and Christianity developed out of Judaism, so followers of Judaism and Christianity, I guess, sort of follow the Ten Commandments, and they too believe in charity, justice, and forgiveness. However, Christians differed from Jews during this time period and to this day because they believe that Jesus Christ was the Messiah sent to I guess, help lead people towards God in this period. However, Jews did not think that the Messiah had yet appeared. Furthermore, Christians believed that Jesus Christ was actually the Son of God, which is another way that Judaism and Christianity differed. Christians, as such, believe in what we call the Holy Trinity, or formed by the Creator, who we would term the Father, the Redeemer, the Son, and the Sustainer, or the Holy Spirit. The next religion in our acronym is Taoism. Taoism developed in ancient China around 500 BCE, and Taoism emphasizes, I guess, people's relationship with nature and following the natural way of things. Taoists believe that you are supposed to act in accordance of nature, and that doing things disrupts this natural pattern. The next religion in our acronym would be Judaism. Judaism developed around 2000 BCE in what is present-day Israel in the Middle East. And Jews follow the Ten Commandments, similar to Christians. And it is important to note that Islam and Christianity both originated out of the ideas described in Judaism. The next religion in our acronym would be Islam. People who are Muslim or follow the Islamic religion are followers of the Prophet Muhammad, who lived during 570 CE. This religion evolved out of the Middle East and is rooted in Christian and Judaism beliefs and practices. People who follow the Islamic belief system believe in the 5 pillars of Islam, which outline the personal, moral, and religious duties of people who are followers of this belief system. This belief system also places an emphasis on the differing roles between men and women, although their spiritual power is similar according to Islamic texts. The next religion in our acronym would be Confucianism. Confucianism developed around 500 BCE in ancient China in response to perceived moral degradation in society and chaos in society. Confucians emphasize the filial piety, or adherence to family values, and human kindness, and is outlined in the 5 relationships described in Confucian texts. These texts emphasize that social order and knowing your place in society can be remedies for this chaos. Hinduism is the last religion in our acronym. Hinduism developed in ancient India around 1000 BCE and is, the root religion of Buddhism. A lot of Buddhist beliefs and Hindu beliefs are similar in that sense. Hindus believe in Brahman, or the spiritual power of the gods outlined in the Vedas, and that this spiritual power is present in all things. The goal of Hinduism is to align oneself with Brahman, and people do this through reincarnation, where they can work towards, that spiritual unity. Karma is also passed on in between lives. So Hindus believe that you have to follow Dharma, or the religious and moral obligations and duties that you're supposed to follow in order to achieve that good karma, in order to become closer to Brahman. Ahimsa is also an important part of someone's dharma, meaning they need to follow a life of nonviolence, which is why most Hindus prescribe to a vegetarian diet. The most important thing to remember when studying all of these different religions, in my opinion, is their similarities. Most of these religions emphasize following a natural way of things, serving God, and performing charitable works towards those who are less fortunate. Placing an emphasis on forgiveness and this charity is something that I believe to be present in all religious belief systems, and is important to note when on the Regents you're asked questions about comparing religions and that type of thing. Another commonly assessed Regents topic relates to how these belief systems evolved in different regions and how these belief systems impacted the societies in which their followers, lived. I would say that it's important to note on the emphasis placed on the differences between men and women and their roles in society. Islamic belief systems, Christian belief systems, Hindu belief systems. These are all religions that make that distinction, and Judaism to an extent, I believe. And so that's something to note here. Also, the different ways that these religions influenced the politics of the societies in which they were regularly practiced is something that is important to know. For example, certain religions are what we call proselytizing, or mean that they actively seek followers. And in order to actively seek followers, people who belong to these different belief systems traveled great distances to try to influence people to convert to their religions. The proselytizing religions of emphasis are probably Christianity and Islam. And so you can think of a couple of different instances in world history where people tried to bring their belief system to other people, or during the Crusades when people tried to recapture what they believed to be the Holy Land. And so all of these belief systems and their core, I guess, values and beliefs had an impact on the politics and the social structures that developed in this time period. And also an important one to note is how Confucianism in particular impacted Asian societies. Even to this day, there are Confucian values present in the cultures of people in China and people in Japan, people in Vietnam, and along with Buddhism. And they have been blended to create what we now know today as the cultures of these people. And so belief systems have had an increasingly significant impact on people in world history and in today. And that's the most important thing to know. On the Regents, it's commonly assessed in order for students to at least identify two of these religions as well as their core beliefs, and then explain how these belief systems impacted societies, the politics of these societies, the economies of these societies, and also how these religions spread by region. And so this was the overview on the World's Religions page on the New York State Global Regents Prep website. I hope this overview helped you think a little bit more about the world religions, their similarities, and how the world religions are assessed on the New York State's Regents exam. As always, I wish you good luck on your exams, and have no fear, Mrs. Takhtani is here. I will try to do my best to make sure that I am as clear as possible in aiding you in your self-study.